Hello everyone. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Welcome to this new Unistellar Live. We are very happy to have you on board with us. So tonight we want to dedicate this new live to our brand new eVscope users. This live has been made for you guys, okay? Tonight we want to share great information and on how to use your eVscope from scratch, okay? This is what we call the basics of the eVscope. This is a live that we've already done. I think we've already done it 2 times. So this will be the 3rd time. But the last time that we did it, it was 4 months ago. And since last December, we had a lot of new users from all around the world. So we wanted to do it again. We wanted to review the basics once again with you. So welcome to the new users. And maybe in the chat we have also people who don't have any eVscope yet. That maybe you just want to you're just asking yourself some questions. Just wondering if that would be interesting to get one. So this live tonight is made for that. We will review the basics. We will give some great information about how to use your eVscope very easily. You will see that this has been made to be easy to use. Really, it's a user friendly. I don't know if there's a more user friendly telescope than the eVscope. So tell us in the chat where you're from. I would guess you're mostly from the US or Canada. But if you're from someplace else, show yourself and tell us where you're from in the chat. My name is Yann. I'm from France. I am French. Maybe you hear it when I'm speaking English. You'll have to forgive me for my English. I'm not that fluent. I'm not perfectly fluent, so I try to do my best. Tonight, of course, I'm not alone. I am joined by 2 great eVscope users, and they are both from Oregon. We have Todd and we have Erica. Todd and Erica, how are you?
Hello.
Hey,
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing very well. It is 4 a.m. for me right now, so I just woke up like 15 minutes ago.
So, this is reminding us of the Earth and the different perspective from every point of view, right?
Right, absolutely. So thank you very much, Todd. Thank you, Erica, for having agreed to do this live with us today. So there's people from there is someone from Toronto. I used to live in Toronto. I spent 1 year in Toronto. So tonight with Todd and Erica, we will talk about the eVscope. They will share their experience. They will give us some nice advices and tips about how to make your first slide, how to get some great images. We will try to talk about the settings, but there will be some stuff that we won't have the time to say, especially about the settings. And I just want to point out that I just want to remind you that we've already done some other lives, and especially the last one that we did with Scott Cardell, and we talked about the settings. Okay, we talked about how to use the settings to get the best image possible. So have a look at this one as well. Okay, from Vancouver, great. From Maui, great. From Hawaii. So Scott says in the chat, hi Todd and hi Erica. Hi Scott. So let's review for 1 second. Let's review let's have a look at the program, okay, for tonight. We will try to spend 1 hour and a half, not more. We really would like us not to exceed 1 hour and a half, because it will be 5:30 a.m. for me, you know. But it should be way enough to share what we want to share tonight. So the program. What are we gonna see? What are we gonna talk about tonight? So first, what is the eVscope? basically, we will talk about how does it work, why Unistellar wanted to make a new kind of telescope. We will give some details about that. Then we will talk about the do's and don'ts for successful observation sessions. It is what I like to call the 10 golden rules, you know. So we won't spend much time on it, but there's really interesting things that you have to know. All right. Then we will take the time to talk about how easily install your eVscope. So basically you will see that it's really easy to take the eVscope out of the tripod, to put it in on the tripod and to activate the sky tracking, and this is something that you can do in no time really. So this is really cool if you want to compare it with the other telescope. And then of course we will do a walkthrough the Unistellar app. Okay, we will talk about all the tabs, the 5 tabs that you can use. Todd will show us some great images as well. And at last we will of course talk about how to make your first light. Okay, so once you have all installed, once you're all set, okay, how do you get your first images? Okay, and of course we will say some stuff about the focus and collimation. This is some interesting and important things to check each and every time you want to use your eVscope. Okay, so Todd and Erica, before talking about the eVscope, just a few words about you guys. I would really very much like to know some stuff about you, but maybe could you tell us how did you become fond of astronomy? How did you become a space and sky lover? You know, and how did you hear about the eVscope in the first place? And since you get one, we can see that Todd has of course an eVscope. So yeah, can you just tell us what did you like about the eVscope? What is your experience with it so far? And of course, Erika, you can add anything you want.
All right, sounds good. I guess I'll start just since I sort of started with the eVscope and then Erica followed. Right. So I grew up interested in astronomy. Kind of watching Carl Sagan and wanting to go on that journey. And the way I found out about the eVscope actually, so I teach astronomy and physics at Pacific University here in Oregon. And I heard about the eVscope from one of my mentors, Jim Schweitzer, had mentioned that Frank was actually giving a talk on the eVscope out here in Portland, Oregon. And he wanted me to go to the talk to find out about it because he was intrigued. And so then it just really fit into the kind of, Erica and I both are really interested in community astronomy, how you get people just out on the sidewalk, out on the street, interested and involved in astronomy. So we were kind of doing some of that already. And then the eVscope fits perfectly in with that because it's so easy to set up and it really connects people to what's going on in the sky. So I was one of the Kickstarter backers. So I got my eVscope, maybe like a year and a half ago, a little over a year ago, and was pretty much blown away. I've used lots of telescopes, but just how easy it was to just take it out of the box and set it up. And I think Orion Nebula, like for a lot of people, the Great Nebula in Orion, M42 was my first thing I got to see and was pretty blown away by that. Yeah. And then now, and Eric can probably talk even more about this. So it's really nice for being able to both just, it's so convenient, I guess maybe is what I really like, is being able to just hear about something that we're talking about in class, a supernova that you hear has been discovered, and it feels really distant and literally distant, and then also just disconnected. And yet I can take 15 minutes and set up the scope and go, I'll show a picture of that a little bit. You can actually just show, go take a picture of what you're hearing about.
And it's really helpful doing astronomy on campus, because when you have people who are just walking by, we're up trying to set something up for photometry or something, but people just walking by can come and say, oh, look, we want to see that. They can go and look at it. They can also take their own phones and control the telescope themselves, which is a really great way to get people involved in the observing process. And, the more active people are in a given activity, the more they learn, the more they get out of it. And so the eVscope is excellent for using in those circumstances. I should say hello. My name is Erica. Yeah. I'm a student of Pacific University. I'm one of Todd's students. I study physics and astronomy, and I am a senior this year. So.
All right. All right. Thank you for that, and thank you for introducing yourself, of course. Okay, so this is really cool. I remember this is I like the fact that you talk about M42 as kind of your first experience and first remember and souvenir. Well, mine was of course Saturn. When I first bought when my parents bought me like a regular telescope that you can get in some random store, it was like a small thing, and I remember the first time that I saw Saturn, I was something like 11 years old, and from now. I remember that 2 days after that I saw Star Wars for the first time. Okay, and now I'm saying, okay, when my life will be dedicated to astronomy and Star Wars, So, what about the eVscope? If we talk about the eVscope, so how did you hear about that in the first time? How did the eVscope end up in your hands?
Sorry. So, oops. Unmute. There we go. So I heard about it from a talk in Portland that Frank gave, and introducing kind of when the eVscope was still coming out, and so then I kind of started following it and was one of the backers, and so I got one early, and now we use it a lot for our astronomy outreach and our research. And I mean, it has transformed what's possible, I think. So, but yeah, it was just kind of luck that I happened to hear about this talk that was happening, and then ended up talking to Frank about it and discovered it that way.
Okay. So this is really cool. I mean, you've been using it for what now? How long have you?
Little over a year.
Okay, over a year. So I guess you have some really nice nice images, sky object images to share tonight. I don't know if you could show us some nice stuff that you could get already, and just to amaze us,
just
right?
Give a sense, yeah. And I should point out that all of these, I mean, you will find, we'll talk probably later about some of the like Facebook groups and that are, that there's a lot of good support out there, and a lot of amazing images. So mine are probably, there are many more impressive images out there, I guess is what I want to say. But part of what I wanted to show is that we can, I think all of the images that I'm going to put up here, including this one, are not processed at all, right? I mean, so this is just straight what you see coming out of the scope, which, I'm just trying to think back, like your question earlier, I was really, truly, think about, I'm an astronomer, I do this a lot, and I was completely blown away the first time I looked through it, because it was just, that's really there. I can actually see. So in this case, let me just start with this one. So this is one that's probably well known to a lot of people who do observing. It's the Dumbbell Nebula. And this is particularly near and dear to Erica and I, because we're observing a star that's not too far from the Dumbbell Nebula. But you can see colors, you can see detail about what's going on in the, again, those who do astrophotography are probably pretty familiar with that sort of thing, but to be able to see it just immediately with, 10 minutes of setup was pretty mind-blowing for me. Especially, I don't know, Erica, you at some point you can tell the story about trying to set up a research telescope and falling back to this. But so shall I just kind of scroll through a few pictures?
Why not?
Just to show,
Just like maybe another one just to
let me see what just happened to my folder here.
What have you been able to to do with your eVscope? Well, the Dumbbell Nebula should be one of the first objects that you should try to spot if you are a new eVscope user. Of course, this is really great because you have some nice colors, and this is M13.
This is M13, and for some reason we're having technical difficulties here. We knew we would have some kind of technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why it's not showing.
Can we really call it a virtual demonstration?
Yeah, probably not.
It's how it's supposed to be. I mean, what would be a YouTube live without any troubles, any issues? So
okay, yeah. I don't know why it's not doing that. It was doing it a minute ago.
Yeah, you know what? No problem.
Okay.
We'll do that.
We'll come back
we'll do that later. So a quick words about basically what I call what is the eVscope. Maybe can you stop sharing? Can you stop the screen sharing for now, and we will go back to the screen sharing later when I'll ask
cooperating
to show us some nice images. So what is the eVscope is the question that we need to answer now. So the eVscope, this is of course for people who just bought it recently, or people who still don't know what it does exactly. In few words, the eVscope is a new kind, even new. I don't know if I can say that, but it would be the future of the telescopes, right? Because basically it's all in one. If you use a regular telescope, you have mirrors, right? You have two mirrors. Well, it depends of the kind of what kind of telescope do you use, but usually you have one mirror and then another one, and that's it. Okay, you don't have any informatic on it. You don't have any microchip, any sensor or anything. Okay, just like two mirrors, and then if you want to do some treatments, if you want to do some processing, you need, of course, a camera, you need a computer, you need softwares, you need anything, of course, everything to get a great image. Because with just one telescope and anything else and nothing else, you would have an image in black and white, and you would see really small objects, right? With the eVscope, you have everything in one. It means that it will look for the sky, it will look for the objects. You have a go-to option installed in it, of course. The go-to is something that allows you to not having to look for something manually, and this is kind of cool. So of course it is installed in the eVscope, and then when you find an object, it will take some images. Okay, it will do what we call a stacking. So it will take images, more and more images. The more you wait, the more images it will take. Okay, it will put it on. It will do what we call stacking, and then it will do the process itself, and you will pilot everything from your smartphone, and you will see a great image with details and colors in really no time. Like in 2 minutes, you can have some great results. Usually, we want to advise people to maybe to wait a little bit longer. We just saw that your Dumbbell Nebula, you waited for 40 minutes, but still for like 10 minutes is really fast. I mean, to have great images. So yeah, the eVscope has been made to have a great experience about yeah, watching the sky. And this is an eVscope is something that you could use with your friends, with your family, with other people, because we can have up to 10 people, 10 smartphone or, that can connect to the eVscope. So you have one like administrator, okay, one guy who's gonna pilot the eVscope, and the 9 others will see at the same time what we can see with the eVscope on their smartphone, and you can share, of course, the image in like in 2 clicks on the social networks. So this is really cool. I don't know, what can you tell? What can you say about your experience? I mean, you've already told us some stuff, but yeah, what did you like the most? What really did you? Yeah, what did you like? What do you love about the eVscope?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is really how easy it is to set up. It's hard to downplay. That's a really important factor, I think, is just, so for example, you can have just a little bit of clear sky, and you can just grab the telescope and take it outside and set it up, as opposed to having so much equipment that you have to try to gather together, and it's going to take you an hour to set up. And so it just makes it much more convenient to just hear about something or see a little bit of clear sky and just go out and look for a few minutes. So like on campus, when Eric and I are doing stuff, right, it's very easy to just let the students look for a little while. They can see things that are, would normally take a lot of effort to see, that they can see very quickly and connect to what they're talking about in class or what you've heard about. I guess that's my favorite thing is, someone can announce that there's a new supernova discovered, or a comet, or whatever. You can actually just go out and see it very easily.
And you don't have to spend like hours trying to get it aligned or try to problem solve. You can just put it out and it just does its thing, and that's really, really cool. And it makes me really excited every time it happens. Right. Especially as someone who historically has problems aligning telescopes. It brings me such joy every time.
Right.
Yeah, and there is one really cool thing about the eVscope is it is the science, the science mode. I mean, you become like a citizen science, a citizen astronomer, because with the eVscope, Unistellar works with a SETI institution, and you can participate to really nice science events. So I think that I don't know if the connection is okay right now. Yeah, okay, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can participate to some astronomical events, like you can help. You can help scientists to discover new planets, exoplanets, or at least to confirm their existence, or to participate to asteroid occultation, and this is really cool as well. So I don't know if you already participated to some events like that, some asteroid occultation or something else. Todd?
Yeah, we have. But let's see.
You did a couple asteroids, right?
Yeah, there were some asteroids. Getting that's called planetary defense. This fits in with your Star Wars theme very nicely, right? And that is, I think, that is one of the best things about this, and why I was drawn to it, is that it fits into this community kind of aspect, right? That there's a really active group of people collaborating with each other. Someone in France and someone in Oregon and someone in Toronto or wherever, right, can be all looking at the same object, and can be on Facebook or Slack or something and communicating with each other, right, and sharing what they've seen. We actually did a short little trial project with another student here at Pacific that early on, that he wanted to look at asteroids and wanted to understand how we know the distance to asteroids. And so I got on the Facebook page in the early days and said, hey, is there anybody out there who's far away from Oregon who could look at this asteroid tonight? And we were able to team up and, text each other and, meet new people that way and get observations of this asteroid that we could then triangulate how far away it was, right? And do that like in real time, which is super fun, like Erica said, to do stuff like that. And it makes you, I don't know how to, for me, that's the thing I've noticed, is just that it makes everything feel, even though you would think that some folks have talked about the fact that it's electronic, so you'd think that would detach you from it a bit. But the electronic aspect also makes it easier, and so in some ways that connects you to the sky more, because you can be out under the real stars and yet see images like you've seen on the internet, kind of, in the moment, so you can kind of connect what's happening.
Which is also incredibly helpful, especially now during COVID times. I don't know how many of you guys out there have attempted to use telescopes with masks. They can be very finicky and difficult. And instead of dealing with that, especially if there's other people around you can just show them your phone, which is a lot more accessible to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm listening to your thoughts, but I'm trying to have a look at the chat as well.
Yes.
And I think that we have some kind of low image quality right now, and I'm very sorry about that, because I'm hosting this live from my flat, and right now I don't think that I have a great internet connection. It will change in a few days, but right now that's just the way it is right now. So I'm sorry for that. Okay, so thank you for this. For these infos that you just share. Let's move on with what we call the do's and don'ts, some advices that we can give people tonight. That's, as I said, we call that the 10 golden rules. Well, these are once again advices. These are tips that you should try to follow every time you want to use your eVscope and you want to have a new observation session. But keep in mind that don't worry if you can't follow the 10 rules at the same time. I mean, if you can have at least I don't know, like half of them, this would already be cool. This is not mandatory. I mean, except for one or two, I want to say that this should be mandatory, especially about the focus and collimation, for instance, and also take a dark frame. But for instance, the first one, so we won't spend too much time on it. But for the first one, you can see that on the screen. Be careful of light pollution. Of course, the eVscope has been made to work with light pollution, so this shouldn't be a big problem, because we have seen a lot of people sharing and posting on the internet, on Facebook's groups, a lot of images taken from downtown. I mean, even from Las Vegas or even from Los Angeles, with of course a lot of light pollution, and they still could get some nice image quality. And even me, I live in Marseille, so that's the second biggest city in France, and I use it. I've been using it in like really in downtown, in downtown Marseille, and I could get some nice images of M42, of the Dumbbell Nebula M27. So you can use it with light pollution, but of course you should try to avoid it as much as possible. I don't know, what is your experience with light pollution, Todd and Erica? Do you have some light pollution where you're at?
Yeah, so we're about 40 minutes outside of Portland, so we still have significant light pollution, especially to the east. But it as long as you're not looking like directly towards the eastern horizon or something, I've never really noticed any major issues with light pollution, other than increasing some image scattering and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that definitely is one of the nice things about we have, like Erica said, we have general light pollution. I don't know what the Bortle class of our sky is, but it's pretty, it's definitely sort of between, it's probably suburb level.
Yeah.
And there's lots of street lights around on campus, just nearby lights, which is why, I don't know if you can see in the background here, this was one of the things suggested by people on Facebook of having just a little dew shield as a light screen that works pretty well for blocking that out. But again, one of the nice things about it is that because of the enhanced vision, you can still see Orion Nebula or colors in the Dumbbell Nebula or things like that. Even when there's pretty significant light pollution around, it's certainly better if you're in really dark skies, but you can do pretty well even in not so dark skies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say again that I'm really sorry about the image quality. So it doesn't improve. I thought it would improve, but it doesn't. It doesn't improve right now. So very sorry for the. At least we have a nice sound. At least I hope so. But there's nothing much that I can do about the image quality. So people, I'm really sorry about it. So we will read, of course, all the rules. So we have avoid humidity. Well, this is not mandatory. I mean, if you've been waiting for the perfect night to use your eVscope, if you've been waiting like for 3 weeks, and the only night you have has humidity, so let's use it. Let's go for it. But humidity, it will spread the light pollution. So basically, even if you don't have any clouds, if you do have some humidity, it will create like a thin veil on the sky, and it can prevent you from seeing all the great objects. We have also rules which said be careful when using it in low temperature. Well, low temperature is okay. I mean, the eVscope has been made to be used in low temperature. We have a lot of people from Canada who are using it even with sometimes minus 30 degrees Celsius, and still it's okay. But be aware, keep in mind that it won't have the same like battery life that it has when you use it with a warmer temperature. Instead of having like 9 to 10 hours, you will have something like 5 to 6 hours, which is kind of cool, of course. And just one important thing: don't charge your eVscope when the temperature is really low. Don't charge it. Okay, you charge it first when it's warm. Then you take it out and you don't charge it, because in low temperature it could damage your battery in long term. Okay, not the first time you do it, but if you keep doing it, you could have some problem with the battery. And one last thing, when the temperature is really low, the eVscope will put itself in low how you say that, in low economy, like low mode, okay, like a standby mode. And what it means is that it can move slowly than you would expect it. Okay, so don't panic if you if you see the eVscope moving kind of slowly. It may be because the temperature is really low. I'm moving on with another rule that goes with it. We wanted to give you the tip. Of course, you may already know it, but take your eVscope out like 15 to 20 minutes before starting your observation session, of course, because we would guess you store it in a warmer room, okay, and then when the eVscope goes from warm to cold, it will create its own turbulence. So you know that, but the eVscope needs at least, I don't know, something like 20 minutes to be used. I mean, to the low temperature. Avoid the wind, of course. The wind is something we want to avoid. So I wrote avoir. Instead of writing avoid, I wrote avoir, which is a French word. So
say goodbye to the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you've already experienced the wind. Here in Marseille, we have a lot of wind, and the wind, sometimes it makes the eVscope to shake. Okay, it creates some vibration, especially when you use the enhanced vision. Try to take shelter. I mean, try to put the eVscope to some place where you're not exposed to the wind. So I don't know if it is windy where you live. I don't know if you've already experienced some issues when using it with the wind or not.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. I would say. I mean, one just kind of simple tip that maybe is obvious, but as I've noticed, even just if you're just using it with your phone, so that you don't need to be able to look through the eyepiece, and you don't mind that you'd have to bend over. I just don't extend the legs very far. If you keep it low and keep it so that you're not, extending the legs, that makes it more stable, of course. So that's just kind of a simple thing. Occasionally, if it's really windy, I've noticed that, the shaking can make it a little bit harder to get the enhanced vision that does the stacking. But for the most part, no, I haven't. I don't think, Erica, do you remember any of the times we've done it on campus?
Okay.
I don't think we've really had any problem with the wind. So that's,
I don't think so.
nice. Yeah.
Well, if you experience wind, if you do have wind, what we could advise you is to not open the 3 legs of the tripod at their maximum. Okay, sometimes you don't need to do it. I mean, you just you can just open one, like I have the tripod over there, so yeah, maybe you can open the legs at half. Have this, I don't know how to say it. Sorry. Have the size maybe, and just stay close to the ground. It will be less exposed to the wind. So that's something you could do.
Definitely, my default is just to leave it all the way as low to the ground as you can, and then I only raise it if I need to be able to see, to look through the eyepiece or something, and that works really well.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is also one of the benefits of the telescope, is that you can do that and not have to get into strange contorted positions to look through it.
Right. Good point.
Okay. I just want to say that someone I don't know what is the name of that person, but someone told on the chat that we could put the stream. We could change some settings on the screen, because right now the image quality is still kind of poor. But dear, I don't know what is the name. Dear Silver Surfer told me to set the quality in 720p. I don't know how to do it actually, because the live has started. So in the settings, I don't see where I can do it. So sorry. Maybe
you can do it from the user's end, so the user can go to that gear as well and change the quality.
Okay, so I'll try to figure.
So then Jan doesn't have to do it, right? You're saying just the user, whoever's watching, can change it for themselves.
Oh yeah. Or maybe maybe he's talking about maybe a Silver Surfer give this advice to people, not to me. Maybe okay, that's cool. Maybe we'll work like that. Okay, so let's move on. So avoid the wind, avoid the full moon as well. Yeah, that's kind of obvious. Well, even if you can once again have great images with the full moon, but when the moon is full, it's almost like we could compare it to light pollution, because of course it will spread a lot of lights. Okay, so don't worry if you have a full moon. Maybe can you watch and can you spot some objects on the other side of the sky, of course, and you want to not to stay close to the full moon. So yeah, if you can avoid it, usually when we want to do some astronomy, when we want to use some telescope, we want to avoid the full moon nights. Okay, let's talk about the focus and collimation for a minute. This is I said that all these rules were not mandatory, but if there's one that you should really take care of, is the focus and collimation. This is something that you should start with when you want to start observing the sky. Basically, we have 2 great videos. Of course, they're great because I've done them, right? I made them. But we have 2 tutorial videos on our YouTube channel explaining everything you need to know about the focus and the collimation. You will see our colleague Sam. He's from Australia, so maybe you'll hear an Australian accent. So yeah, the focus is really important, because sometimes when the focus is not done, the eVscope won't even be able to activate the sky tracking. Okay, so the sky tracking is really important, because without the sky tracking, you won't be able to activate the go-to. You won't be able to find pretty much anything. I mean, you would have to do it manually. So the focus, you can check the focus with the focus wheel at the back of the eVscope, the big wheel, okay, and you have to use the bad enough mask. Scott, how was your first experience, your first impression when you had to check the focus and the collimation? I mean, because I think that usually with other telescope, the collimation is kind of complicated. I've already tested it, and you have like different, like sometimes 4 or 5 screws that you need to turn. Here we have only 2. And about the focus, the bad enough mask is also included on the eVscope. So this is kind of cool.
Yeah, right. So I mean, the collimation was at least okay for seeing, you know, Orion Nebula and things right out of the box. And then initially, I just focused, you know, literally just focused by eye. I didn't the very first time I did it, I was just so excited to to look. I didn't even use the Botanoff mask. But yeah, it's very easy to do. I mean, we can.
Okay, cool.
Demonstrate if you want, but right, I mean, it really is just taking the piece off the front, which you've probably seen other places, right? But yeah, my initial experience was collimation was fine to begin with, and it just took a few minutes. And you know, I had to read which knob went to which screw to turn and things like that. Yeah. So you know, it took a little bit of time,
of course.
And you don't have to do it very often, as long as you don't move it around very much. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
The collimation, you should check it like every once in a while, as long as you just said you don't shake it, you don't move it too much. About the focus, on the other hand, you should try to you should check it at the beginning of every observation sessions. And I would even say, if you use it in low temperature, or if the temperature decreases during your observation, it could have an effect on the focus. So be sure to check it from time to time, every hour, every 2 hours, with the Botanoff mask. So I don't want to get into too much details right now, because once again we have some great video tutorials on our YouTube channel. But the focus and the collimation are really important. Also important is the dark frame. Okay, you should take a dark frame. So the dark frame, what is the dark frame? Todd or Erica, what is the dark frame, and why do we need to take one?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, it's like the name sounds, right? It's a frame that you take with the lens cap on, so that it's dark. And it's basically just there's background noise in the camera detector, right? So you're basically telling it what that looks like, you know, what signal it's getting when there's no light hitting the detector, so that then it can subtract that out when it's. I think that only works when it's in enhanced vision mode, right? But it then subtracts that out, and so it corrects for pixels that are hot. Things like that. So it's easy. It's very easy to do, especially in the new software. So it's definitely worth doing. At least I do it at the start of every observation session, right?
This is something you should do. For the beginning of every observation sessions. Okay, so let's move on with the 2 last rules, and then we will talk about the app. So you should check the bubble level. Of course, this is some basic information, but still, don't forget to check it, because if the bubble level is not centered, if the bubble is not centered or leveled, it should still work. Okay, as long as it's not too much off-centered, but. I mean, when you want to look for an object that is far away from where your eVscope is pointing at right now, when you want to activate the go-to on an object, and the eVscope needs to move for a long, needs to move from one side to another in the sky, it could miss the objects, or at least not being able to center it perfectly fine on the screen if the bubble level is not checked. Okay, so this is this is a little something, a little detail, but be sure to check it.
Can I add something? So if you think about what the telescope is doing with the auto align, which is amazing, right? Essentially it's comparing its map of the stars in the sky to what it sees in the sky in the image. But in order to do that, it needs to know how it's oriented on the surface of the Earth, right, to be able to do it really accurately. And so that's what the bubble level is basically accomplishing. So it's worth the few minutes to.
It's worth the extra hassle to get it flat.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And there's also just another tip that I learned from one of the Facebook users is there are free apps for your phone that have nice, really big bubble levels. So then even after you have the scope all set up, you can just put that on the platform. And it's really easy to check the level if it's dark. If you don't want a flashlight and you can't see the level, it's easy to do it with your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good advice. Okay, and the last one, I put the wooden decks. Okay, so maybe once again, you should try to avoid putting your eVscope on wooden decks. I mean, once again, it will work fine. Don't worry about it. We have a lot of users who has wooden decks, okay, so they won't change it because they just get a new eVscope. The only thing that you should keep in mind is that when you activate the enhanced vision, the eVscope needs to stay perfectly still, all right, in order to get a great image. So if we know that the wooden decks sometimes when you walk around, it could create some vibration. So there is no problem when you use the eVscope in live view, but as soon as you activate the enhanced vision, you should avoid, if you do have a wooden deck, you should avoid walk around next to the eVscope, okay? Because if you have some vibration, the enhanced vision could stop. I mean, it could fail. You have an error message saying, okay, the vibration has been detected. So anything but wooden decks works perfectly fine. And when you do have a wooden deck, just try to avoid working next to the eVscope. Okay, that's it for the do and don'ts. Thank you very much for your advices and your tips. So let's have a few words about installing your eVscope, how easily it is to install your eVscope, okay? So when you take the tripod out, the first thing is you just open the three legs, and then you install your eVscope on it. So can you share us some of your first experience on how easily it was to install the eVscope and get it running?
Yeah, like we've sort of already talked about. I mean, there really are just two. You probably can't see, and I heard the video quality was not so good, but so I'll just describe. But there really are just two screws on the side, and it's as simple as lowering, making sure those screws are out of the way, and then lowering the eVscope onto the tripod after you've leveled the tripod, and then tightening those screws just kind of, finger tight, but not over tight. And that's it, right? That's literally all you have to, and then take the lens caps off, right? I mean, that really is all you have to do to get it set up. And then we'll probably talk about this later, but, connecting to the Wi-Fi network and connecting your device to communicate with it.
It's also super, super easy.
Also super easy.
And I found the app to be fairly intuitive about.
Well, we'll detail the app in a moment. Okay. So basically this is all you have to do. Just to open the tripod, put the eVscope on it. Just make sure to tighten the two screws. Not too much. Don't damage anything, right? But just make sure that the eVscope won't fall. And then you just need to connect your smartphone with the eVscope on the with the Wi-Fi connection, and basically that's it. You just launch the app, and then basically you just need to lower the eVscope with the joystick, and as soon as it sees any stars, you can activate the sky tracking, and that's it. Basically that's it. I mean, the sky tracking you can activate it in I don't know 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And works with pretty much any part of the sky. So this is cool.
Yeah, that was a shock to me of how easy. I expected there to be some troubleshooting and sort of, and there's a few times when it didn't do it right away, but for the most part, you're just literally pointing at any place you can see stars in the field of view, and then within maybe 15 seconds it figures out where it is. And, yeah.
Okay, the time is passing kind of quick. It is now for me 4:50. I mean, so we still have we still have time. I would really much like now to show the app. So maybe can you share your screen? I don't know if you can also connect your iPad to your eVscope just to show the eVscope tab. Or not. I don't know if you.
Yep, I think so. I'll try. I will double check here. I had it set up before, so fingers crossed it will still work.
Right. Okay.
Our tech.
Well,
the tech.
Don't worry if you can't do it, but if you can just connect your. Okay, like that. Okay.
All right. Can you see that now?
Well, yeah, we can see the screen. Of course, we can see the app. So okay. So here is the Unistellar app. You have 5 tabs. Okay, you have 5 tabs.
Sorry, I'm going to go back. I'll go back to that. Sorry.
Right, exactly. So this is really cool. So if you go back for 1 minute on the settings, we could see that you have your iPad connected to the eVscope in the Wi-Fi settings. So that's
you
it.
Do that.
Yeah. This is really easy to do. Okay.
Yeah. So right. So in the Wi-Fi.
Okay. And you can even rename the eVscope Wi-Fi name. You can rename it if you like. And then you can of course open the app, and let's have a quick walkthrough. And maybe can you describe what it is? You have 5 tabs. The first one is eVscope. So what do we have here in the eVscope tab?
Yeah, so the first one, on the bottom tabs on the left-hand side, the first one is that says eVscope, and that's just the live view of what you're seeing. And then, like Jan was talking about earlier, there's the joystick that we're still seeing. Yeah, still seeing that. So you can move the telescope around with the joystick feature there. Should I just keep going through the tabs and kind of show the different?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have on this tab you have kind of a you have three different icons on the top right corner. So the first one that you should use is the one that looks like a small target, and this is how you activate the sky tracking. Okay. So as soon as you see the stars, you just click on this icon, and the eVscope will analyze the stars, and it will recognize the skies and the stars, and it will activate the sky tracking.
It's looking at my ceiling, so it's going to be unhappy right now. It's not dark yet. But
don't worry, no problem.
I guess I could still do it and see what it does.
Well, I don't think it will do anything.
It's it'll try.
It will try.
I'll be very confused.
Be very confused.
And the other icon, you have an eye for information. This is easy. And the one on the top, the eye with the little star, this is where you can activate the enhanced vision. So you have 2 ways to use the eVscope and to watch for the sky objects. The first one is the live view, okay, and this is the mode that you should use when you look at, for instance, you look at planets or the moon, okay. You should stay in live view, but as soon as you want to see and to watch a deep sky object like a nebula, like a galaxy or star clusters, you should of course activate the enhanced vision. This is why you bought the eVscope in the first place, maybe to activate the enhanced vision. And this is the mode that will reveal some really nice details and colors. So yeah, this is the first tab, eVscope. This is where you pilot your eVscope, and this is where you see the images.
And maybe just to add, on that same screen, you can also you can go in and set the settings yourself if you want to change. Like if you're looking at the moon or a planet or something bright, you can turn off the auto and control those yourself if you want to do that.
Well, yeah, most of the time you can leave that on auto mode and it will give you the best image quality. Uh, but sometimes, from time to time, if you want to go further, if you want to try to have the best, yeah, the best images, the best look, if you want more light or less light, I don't know, you can play with these settings. And once again, I can advise you to watch our last live with Scott Cardell, because we are talking about these options. So I think we give some great information. Okay, so the second tab is the Explore tab. So here, what do we have here?
All right, so this is the really fun part of the. So now the telescope's already aligned, so it knows how to find its way around to things, and so then you can it will on the top it recommends certain objects that are visible from in your sky window at that moment. Variety of different things that many of you will probably recognize. So there's recommended topic objects to look at. There's things that are fading soon or appearing soon by type of object, right? Galaxies, nebulae, and so on. Stars, asteroids, and so on. And then you can go to if you've heard about something that you want to see that's not in the system, you can go to specific coordinates, and you can actually type in the coordinates. You can search for something like whatever M.
Yeah, if you type in like if you know the Messier name, it will find it. It will find it straight away. If you just enter galaxy or nebulae or cluster, it will give you all the objects that has this word in its name. So this is really nice. You will also have like this cool graphic that shows where the object is in its constellation. So in this way, you can even try to look at it with the naked eye, just to spot it. So this is kind of cool, and you have also information when you want to share some information, when you want to look like you know everything about the object. Okay, try to read that really quick, really fast, and then you will say, okay, so you know that that star where how far is it, and so this is some nice information. And you
this
also
is great
have,
for when you're. Go ahead,
yeah. So yeah, and you also
I was
have
just going to say
settings.
this. Yeah, this is great for when you're out with students and they're asking you one object after another, and what is that one? You can say, well, let me look that up. And
Yeah, all right. And you also have some settings. If you can maybe open the sky window settings with the top right icon, and these act like filters. And if you play with these settings, you will display more or less objects. Okay, so for instance, if you're located in the city or in countryside, the quality of the sky will be different. So if you're countryside and you want the app to display the maximum objects possible, you should set the visibility on countryside. If you set the visibility on city, it will hide a lot of objects, and the same with altitude and azimuth. I don't know if you use these settings a lot or not, Todd or Erica.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use them a lot, and I tend to just leave it set on countryside, even if it's not that, even if we're in suburbs or city.
I think everyone does that.
Yeah, just because of what Jan said, I don't want to. I will decide whether I'm going to look at it or not. I let it, instead of having filter. I do use this, especially just the altitude. Like if there's a building or something in the way, that way I don't bother trying to find objects that, or if there's, you can filter out if your northeast direction has trees in it or something.
Yeah.
You can, that's pretty handy.
Okay, cool. Okay, so thank you for this second tab, Explore. The third one, Science. We didn't talk that much about science, and this is one of the coolest parts, as you said. This is where you can enter some coordinates that you will find on our website, the Unistellar website. We have a great part about science, about planetary defense and asteroid occultation, and you can see a list of the next asteroid occultation, you can participate to these events. You just need to enter the data, the coordinates, and then hit on launch or go to, and it will register everything, and then you'll be able to send us the data, and you will in this way you will help us, you will help the scientists to to discover some new stuff. Like, for instance, I don't know when was it, but a few weeks ago we had two people in the US. One was located on the east coast and the other one on the west coast. Only two people participated to an asteroid occultation, and with their data, we could find some new information about an asteroid. We could reshape. I mean, we could not work on the shape, but on its size. I think that we discovered that it was like a 20% bigger than we thought it would be. We thought it was. So with only two people recording this kind of data, we can go further. So let's imagine now if like you have 100 people, 1,000 people participating in the same events, we could really find some great and interesting things.
Yep. Refine the orbits of asteroids and things like the planetary defense we were talking about earlier. It's cool, and it's expanding, right? Just the set of things that you can do. They've even, I think some of the new version of the websites that announce, so that the Facebook page and, like Jan said, the website, they have announcements about different calls for participation in these things. I think some of them now even have the link that you click on. If you click on it in your device that's connected to the eVscope, it'll just automatically load the coordinates.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Because we realized that sometimes people just had the wrong coordinates. I mean, they entered, they just made a mistake for one number, you see, and of course it will fail. So this is nice when you don't have to do anything. You just need to click on the link, and it will fill up automatically all the parts. Right. So this is the third tab, science. So this is cool. The fourth one is gallery.
Yeah.
So this is where you will store all the images. So this one is nice. This one is really nice.
So yeah, now we won't have. Hopefully, this is not a folder anymore. So we'll just look at whatever's in here. But yeah. So this is what is this? The Lagoon Nebula, I think.
What is this one? Yeah.
Right. I think it's Lagoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have the name on it.
It didn't have the name on it. I don't know why. Let's see if there's a nearby one that does.
It was taken in last.
This was taken last July. Yeah, it was, and it's worth pointing out. This was from Oregon. We're at about 45 degrees north latitude, so this was pretty low in the sky at the time, and yet, because it's at minus 24 degrees.
It was minus 24 degrees right now. At that time.
Right. Sorry, not the temperature. I was reading the coordinate on here.
Oh yeah.
Right. Essentially, the declination that it was low in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be very worried if it was minus 24 degrees on July 16th here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Could happen, but not. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, this was pretty low in the sky. It was from just here in town, so it wasn't super dark skies. This is we were talking about the enhanced vision. So this is an 11-minute stacking and enhanced vision. But yeah, right. I mean, just mind blowing to be able to just look through the eyepiece or look on the iPad and actually see this live, right?
What else do you have?
I don't know. We'll find out. I'll just see what random things. So I was pretty excited about that one. Let me go back to where I can see. Sorry.
So we can see that you have either images with the Unistellar filter. I mean, this is not a filter. I forgot the.
The Unistellar kind of, I don't know, stamp or logo or whatever you want to call it. If I go, there we go.
You can get rid of it if you like in the settings. I mean, the last tab that we will open next to in a moment.
That's worth pointing out that you have a choice about, do you want so like this one, it just shows it in its full full glory without any writing on it, or do you want to see it to have it display with all the information on it? And I often take pictures with both.
Yeah.
Record them with both so that I have the information about what I was looking at and where it was and what time it was and things like that.
Which is really, really handy, especially for data storage and organization.
Yeah.
Which can be a huge issue with astronomy.
Right. Yeah. The other super nice thing about this that Erica brings up is that, you can always just take screenshots of things as well. And so often I'll just take a screenshot of something just to remember the settings that like if I'm doing like in science mode, if I want to remember what did I have things set at, rather than having to have a notebook with me to write all that down, I just take a screenshot of it and then it tells me, what's happening.
Yeah, and usually people ask, how can you share some your images? This is so easy to do. Oh, this is the ring nebula.
There's the ring nebula. Yeah,
only 3 minutes. So this
is only 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is nice. And if, for instance, you want to share this image on your social network just to impress your friends, I'm sure they will be impressed, right?
Right.
If you say that you did it in only 3 minutes. Well, you just need to click on the icon on the bottom left. This one with the square and the arrow pointing up. And
and then you have options for where you want to share it.
Yeah, that's it. That's really easy once again.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is one of the best things, maybe just to add for, when you're sharing with family, friends, students, random people who skateboard by in the park or whatever, the fact that you can have them download the free app and that they can see on their screen the same thing that you're seeing. And so then it's a very common thing, right? People try to hold their phones up to take pictures through a telescope.
Right.
Now you can just let them do it by Wi-Fi. And,
absolutely.
And they have
absolutely. Yeah, this is cool. I've done that before. I mean, taking my smartphone and try to get a picture on the eyepiece. But sometimes you can have nice results.
Sometimes it works really well, right?
Yeah, but sometimes it works. But here with the eVscope, you don't have to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, nice. Okay, you have some star clusters. You have
here's like some star clusters. I don't even know what that is, but
that's a nice one.
Okay. A little out of focus, but yeah.
So usually, how long do you leave the enhanced vision? Do you stay with I don't know? Do you use it for like 2, 3, or less than 10 minutes, or you already tried to leave it to wait I don't know 30 minutes or more?
Yeah, that's a good question. Go ahead. Sorry, Erica. Go ahead.
Well, I think the most recent times that we've used it, it's been good 20, 30 minutes per object until there's a group of people and they're like, let's go look at other things. But I mean, we've gotten some really clear pictures of the Orion Nebula, just letting it sit there for half an hour or so.
Yeah, good point. I mean, right. So that's one of the nice things is, especially if you're with a group of people and you're talking about things, you can just leave the enhanced vision running on something and then it just keeps getting better and better. And the contrast with the background keeps getting better. And then when you're ready to move on to something else, then you can move on at that point. And so, so like Erica said, it depends if you're looking at something really faint, like a galaxy, like this, although even this is the Cigar Galaxy and it's only 4 minutes and yet it's already pretty clear. But certainly if you're looking at something with low contrast, I tend to leave it as long as I can. But again, you notice that all these pictures are like 6 minutes or 4 minutes or 8 minutes. Or we probably had impatient people wanting to look at something else.
Yeah. But it will look like your kind of impression from sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, even if you can have some nice results, well, it depends of so many things. It depends of the sky quality. It depends of all the things that we said when we were talking about the 10 rules. But anyway, you can have great results in couple of minutes. But I tend to wait for something like 10 minutes. Sometime between, I don't know, like 6, 7, 10 minutes to get a nice image. Just keep in mind that the more you wait, the longer you wait, the more time the image will be better and better. I mean,
Right.
how can I say that?
Yeah, the contrast, or the quality and the contrast is what I think of, right? It stands out against the background more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, when you wait like 2 minutes, and then when you wait 4 minutes, you will have a nice improvements. And the longer you wait, the longer the longer that the app will need to make some great improvements. Okay, so for
Right.
instance, if you wait 30 minutes, and then if you say, okay, I want to wait like an hour or maybe 2 hours, and the image will be way better if I wait like 3 hours. Well, not necessarily. Okay,
Right.
you will have to wait longer and longer to have some interesting improvements. So sometimes, I mean, it can be cool to wait like, I don't know, like 2 hours. The image will be better and better, will get better and better, but it will need more and more time to get better. Okay, I don't know if
Right.
I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but
Yeah, the rate of improvement slows down, if you want to think of it that way, right? It's each successive minute doesn't add as much quality. You have to, it keeps expanding. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My dear translator. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for all these nice images, and maybe we'll have time to see some other one before the end of the live. And let's have a look at the last one, the last tab, the user tab. And this one is really interesting, because this is where you find many options. So right now, yeah, okay, so cool. We can see that you have 32% of storage full. So what is it? What is the storage?
What does that mean?
That we often have. Where do the image goes? Do they stay on the smartphone, or do they go in the SD card that's installed in the eVscope? So if I can say something, if I can take just 1 minute to explain it to you, when you activate the enhanced vision, it will take some data, it will register some data, and this is where you will see the data that's been registered each and every time you use the enhanced vision. You will see it in storage. Okay, so it will fill up the bar, and then you can upload the data. So you shouldn't. My advice would be, don't wait until the data is full to upload it. Okay, when like for now, like right now, you have 32% of the storage filled. So you could start to upload the data. It will take less time, of course, than if you had the barrel totally full. And just one other thing, don't worry if your storage is totally full. Don't worry. I mean, this is not because it is full that your eVscope doesn't work anymore. I mean, of course it works. You can still have some nice images. You can still save some images. So
Right.
yeah, this is not really an issue. The only thing is that if your storage is full, you won't be able to join some astronomical events in the science tab. Yeah, because
right. So yeah, can I just add something to that?
Yeah,
It's sort of, yeah. So I mean, just because it can be confusing for people that the storage maxing out the storage only matters if you're trying to do a science event where you want to store, like you're watching a transit or something's happening and you want to make sure you get the whole event. Then it matters to start out with your storage pretty much empty so that you have room for all of it. And then you upload it right after that, because then the folks at SETI Institute and other places can use that data. But as far as just using your scope to see pretty pictures and so on, you could, although like Jan said, it's not really probably recommended, but you can, if it fills up, it'll just replace with the new things. It's not like it'll stop working or anything. Yeah.
And thank you for that. And this storage, we're talking about the storage of the SD card. Okay, you have 16 gigs on the SD card. And this is not the same thing when you save an image from the eVscope tab, the first one. When you hit the save image icon, and then you see all the images in the gallery tab. These images are stored on the iPhone, on the smartphone, or the iPad, or whatever it is. Okay, this is not the same thing as the storage. The storage here that we just saw are located. The data are located on the SD card. On the other hand, all the images that we see on the gallery are stored in the smartphone. Okay, so if you have like a 128 gigs smartphone, you can save a lot of images. Okay, whether you have the storage full, the storage bar full or not. Okay, so this is two different things. Okay, so and then you have all the options like display eyepiece focus helper. So that's when you have an eyepiece, and we'll say a few words about the Equinox later, which does not have
the dark frame
anymore.
that we talked about.
Yeah, the dark frame, absolutely. The Park My eVscope option, that's what you use at the end. This is pretty handy. You just click on it, and then the eVscope will go back to its original position and will turn off automatically itself. So that's cool. And we can also see that you're connected as an operator. Okay. So you have two modes. You can be either operator or watcher. Okay. And when you are a watcher, you cannot pilot the eVscope, and but you can see, like we said before. You can see pretty much everything that the operator sees, so you can save the images and you can share it as well. That's just you can pilot, okay, and you can release your status if you want someone to become the operator. You just need to click on the release button, and you will become a watcher, and someone can ask for the operator for controlling the eVscope.
So this is great for, once you're friends, or it's great for students, right? You can let somebody watch for a little while and learn the ropes. And then you can say, hey, you want to take control of the telescope? And it's very easy for them to just, take over, and then they can find the things that they want to find.
Okay, cool. Well, this is cool. This is nice. I don't know if you want to add some other stuff about the app.
Yeah, let's see. Is there anything?
I can say I can. Yeah, here you have other things. I just want to point out that you have we can see that your application version is 1.2. You may know that right now we have the 1.3 version that is available. So from time to time you have some updates, and the updates are really cool because we really try to add some new features, and I don't want to spoil anything right now, but I can tell you something. I can tell you just one thing about the next update that we will release in. I can tell the exact date because as usual we don't really know when it will be available, but we're trying to make our best for it to be available in very soon. But there will be nice improvements once again, and especially about the focus. Okay, the app will help you, how do you say that? Like it didn't do it before. Right now you will have another feature, a new feature that will help you, that will tell you if you're out of focus or not, if your focus is good or not. Okay, I don't want to tell you too much stuff about it, but we tested here at Unistellar, and basically, because sometimes you don't really know if your focus is good or not, and sometimes you can even forget to check it. Okay, so yeah, now as soon as you will launch the eVscope and you will spot an object. Well, you will have like a small something, like maybe a small icon that will say, okay, you're out of focus. So work on your focus, and yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
All right, so it is now 5:20 French time. We'll still have 10 minutes left. So thank you very much. Todd, for having sharing your screen. I just wanted to say a few words about the new product that Unistellar will release this year. Maybe you have heard about it. I saw in the chat some people talked about it. So right now, hold on. Yeah, like that. So yeah, since Unistellar has been created, we only had one product, right? The eVscope, and we're very proud to announce that right now we won't have only one product, but we will have now two products. Okay, and I don't know if you saw it. I believe Unistellar sent an email or something. We communicated on it, and we have some info on our website. Our very brand new eVscope. We have now a second model, which is called the Equinox. Okay. So I don't know if you've heard about it. I don't know if you know the differences between the Equinox and the eVscope. Let's yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Are you asking?
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe so it's the difference is the not having an eyepiece is the one thing that I know about. There's probably more that you're going to tell us.
Yeah.
that I don't know about, but yeah.
Well, yeah. The Equinox. Basically, it has been created for people who really interested in science modes. Okay, and if you want to become the best citizen astronomer in the world, you should think about getting an Equinox. And the reason why it has no eyepiece is that because you may be aware that when you try to participate to an event like, for instance, an asteroid occultation or a transit, an exoplanet transit or something, well, the eyepiece is not much of a help, right? I mean, you don't see that much stuff. All you can do basically is to register some data. So this is really cool. This is really interesting. But you don't need an eyepiece for that. So it can do the same thing at the eVscope because it has the same sensor. You can pretty much do the same images. But the thing is, there's no eyepiece because you don't need an eyepiece to participate to science and events. That's pretty much it. Okay. And the other two cool things, the first one is that it has more battery life. Okay, I believe it has 2 to 3 hours of battery life extended. So you have now like something like 12 to 13 hours of battery life. This is kind of cool. And you also have 64 gigs of storage. So about on the eVscope you have 16. We put like a 16 gigs SD card, and right now you have a 64 gigs, of course, because in this way you can participate to longer events, right? So this is really for people who are really interested in doing some science. Cool. But of course you can use it for everything else as well.
Yeah, that would be very cool, because I know some of the exoplanet transits you're just bumping up against, you barely fit the entire transit onto the SD card.
Right. So nice. And anyway, if you want to have some more information, just go on our website. Just go to our Unistellar website. You have anything you want. We have you have a lot of information about what you can do with the Equinox, what the difference are there with between the two products. So be sure to go there to have a look, and you'll get all the information that you want. Well, guys, it is almost I'm always talking in French time, sorry, because I don't really know what time it is.
It's 8:25 here.
8:25 PST.
Right. Okay. So
The sun's about
I
to
think
set.
we're kind of okay right now. I don't know. Maybe you want to add some one last word about your experience with the eVscope. Maybe you have some last advice to give to the new users because this live has been kind of made for them. I know that we have in the chat some great users, but we also have some new users, some fresh users. So if there would be something you wanted to say to people that just get their new eVscope, I don't know, what would it be?
I highly recommend going on the Facebook pages. It's communicating with the other members is incredibly helpful. There's a lot of people who have a lot of really good advice on there. A lot of people who share very good photos. It's an excellent place to network and talk to people about using the telescope.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I would second that. And then also I would say just, probably the biggest advantage to having an eVscope is that you can just try things, think about what you've wanted to see, whether it's a asteroid or a comet or a supernova or whatever, right? There's just try things, right? There's a lot of things that you have access to that you didn't have access to before.
Yeah, be sure. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, be sure to check all the Facebook groups. You'll have great help. You'll have and sometimes even on Facebook or on Twitter, you will get jealous of people who will post some very nice images. Okay, sometimes we can see great images. Even here at Unistellar, sometimes we see we see stuff, we see images, and we're like, man, how did he do it? How did he do it? So this is really cool. Okay, thank you. So thank you very much. Thank you once again, Todd. Thank you, Erica. It's been a pleasure to have you here with me. Thank you for your help. Thank you for all the tips and all the advices that you gave us, that you gave people. I hope you liked it.
And, thanks for having us.
Maybe we will have you another time for a future live. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat. Everyone, thank you for staying until the end. So it was a great time. I think that we gave some interesting information. This live will be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow. I will review it. Maybe I will cut some stuff. I don't know. So thank you once again. I should say good night maybe to you. I'm gonna go off
good morning.
to bed right now. Okay, and be sure to to give us a thumbs up if you liked it, and the usual stuff on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, if it's not done yet. Todd, Erica, thank you again, and I guess we'll see you soon then.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Good night, everyone. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you very much.